folks, welcome back to my channel. It's handmade by Shirley. Thanks so much for watching and for subscribing and for being here. So today again, tonight again, I'm going to do this Alstra Media from the stamps that I got recently from All and Create. So I used this one the last time. I still haven't put it onto a card base, but this is what it came out like, which was really nice. So that was what I used, and I used the Alstra Media wording and then just went round with a pen. So this time I'm going to just do something quite plain. I'm not going to do too much. Something just quite sort of monochrome and plain. So I'm going to use this Alstra Media stamp, and I'm going to use this old stamping platform plate, which was from one of my subscribers. A great idea, because I was having trouble one time trying to use quite a large stamp, which I couldn't really use on a stamping platform. So she suggested an old plate from a die cutting machine. So that's really worked, and I'm really thankful to Liz for that tip. Thanks so much. Right, so I'm just going to stamp it in. Now, I've not got the... I'm going to stamp it in pine cone, Versa Clair pine cone, and I know that's not a particularly great colour. Well, it's a brown, but I mean it's a nice colour, but it's probably something that you might not stamp it in, although most people stamp a lot of their stamps in black, so I suppose it's not that bad, it's not that different. So I've done that, and I just need to see where my card's going to go. So this is a piece of, I think it's 4.5, but I can't remember. So what I'm doing is I'm putting the card on top, so it's smooth card from Pink Frog Crafts, and it's super smooth actually, and I'm just putting over the top because I couldn't quite see through this to see where it was going to land on my piece of card. So that's fine, that's worked out nice, that's really nice. And I'm just going to wipe that. But what I want to do is I want to make sure that's dry before I carry on with the next part of this. So I'm going to dry it off and come back. So I've done that. So what I thought I would do now is, I was going to keep it quite monochrome, but I've just had a thought, and this should all be dry, that I could do some watercolouring with some of the Distress Oxides. So what you need for this is a paintbrush or a water brush. I think that water brush hasn't got any water in it. So a paintbrush and some water. And because I've used Versa Clair, it should not bleed. So I'm using, this is mustard seed, so I'm going to put some water in the lid, just spray a little bit of water, get my brush quite wet, take some of the mustard seed ink off so I can paint with this because it's water reactive, and I'm just going to go in and just paint with it. So I can come down a little bit more because you probably won't see it as well from that height. So just going over all the bits of the Alstra Media. like that. Now, I think I must have had something sparkly on this brush. I mustn't have washed it properly because it's sparkly. So I'm then taking more yellow, more of the mustard seed off, and that will make it darker. So any of the places that you want a little bit of shadow, you can just put more colour on, and that will make it darker. Obviously, if you want to take the colour away, you put more water onto it. So that's usually how it goes anyway. And I didn't go into the water there, I just went straight onto the image. So I wanted more here because that's going to be darker, and then I'm going to do this piece under here, which is going to be a little bit darker as well. Excuse me, stomach's making a funny noise again. So it needs to be quite a sort of fine brush if you decided to do this. And if I want to take some of that out, I just go into the lighter stuff and just bring it out a bit with the lighter colour. Or I can add a wee bit more water to that, and then I go into the water and I just lighten it by putting more water on. Don't know if you can see that. So but if I want to darken it, I just go in straight in, and I can put some more dark underneath some of these bits. That same here, darken that a wee bit, so put a little bit more water on, but just try and darken it a bit. You can see the difference. So if you want it lighter, add more water. If you want it darker, just kind of use the colour without diluting it too much. So that's that. I'm just going to wash out this lid because I don't want that to transfer onto my pad particularly. So I want to do a wee bit for the green leaves, so I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm using Mowed Lawn, and I'm just going to spritz into my lid. Now there's obviously actually some yellow on that, but it doesn't really matter. So just take some of this Mowed Lawn and that yellow that you had. Pop a wee bit more water into the lid. If you don't want to use your lid, use just a wee tray, wee palette or something, tray, or even just a wee dish of some description. And then I'm just going to very delicately go down there. Now there's not much colour on that brush, it's just very light, but that's okay. As I say, I can go in a little bit darker, just without really putting it in the water. Obviously my brush is wet, so you know there's plenty water on the brush, so you keep that damp so the colour does come out. And I want to make it a wee bit darker here, so I'm going to put some more colour on. You can see that comes out much darker there. And obviously when it dries it does go much kind of lighter in colour as well. I mean, I don't profess to be able to do watercolour that greatly, but I can do it a little bit, and I do know what I'm talking about colour wise and taking the colours out. So you can see that difference in colour there and shade. So just bring that down again with some more colour in it. It's very difficult because it's so thin, that piece. But so yeah, that's another thing you can do with your Distress Oxides, is paint with them. So pop that there. So I'm just going to dry that and I'll be back. Right, so I've dried that off and I've got this wording: there are no gardening mistakes, only experiments. So I'm going to pop that on in the background. So this nice long rectangle block. I want to try and keep it sort of straight. It's a little bit wonky there. So let's just do pine cone again, but what I want to do is just stamp off first so that it's in the background a little bit more than in the foreground, if you see what I mean. So I'm going to find something to stamp onto that I can just use as a scrap, and just hope we've still got enough to, now I kind of want it into the background, so there we go. I think that's okay. Just do it again. So it's not going to have the full thing on it, it's going to have some of it on it, but not the full wording. So stamping off, so it's second generation stamping really. So I'm just going to put that there, which you will kind of see the full thing. And I'm going to do another few, which are going to be in between here and there. So it's just kind of filling in the background with a particular stamp. There's lots of things I could do, but I just thought I'd do this. Oh. And just do another couple of bits. So we'll have one here, and then one sort of there, and one here. Oops. Oh, I didn't stamp off there, did I? That was a bit daft. Never mind. And I think we'll just do one just kind of there. I think maybe another bit just on the bottom, just to kind of get that in. Stamp off the same bit there, and one more at the top, I think. Just there. That'll do. So let's just create a background there. Oh, perhaps I'll use that as a background. I don't know. So it's not just necessarily using your stamps as is with some of the other stamps that are on the pack. No, that one obviously makes a nice, oh, this has come off. That one obviously makes a nice floral, which you could just have on its own, fair enough, with Alstroemeria, but it's nice to play about with some of the other stamps and you know, equally I could have just used bits of this stamp as well just to create a background. So, you know, don't necessarily use your stamps as is. Use them as is if you want to, obviously, but, you know, there's other ways you can actually use them. Now, I'm thinking I might go in very, very lightly with this Mode Lawn, but I want to just go in quite lightly. So I've got some on my brush, but I don't want to use like the loads that I've got on my brush. So I just want to have a kind of halo going around this floral, just to kind of bring it out of the white starkness. I'm trying to cover that bit, but that's not going to work. So I think that's okay because I don't want to do the full thing. And then that's really all I'm going to do on this card. So it's just not really, it's just water painting and watercolouring and creating a different background with some other stamps. Where are my base cards? Here they are. They're hiding. So that was all it really is, just to show you can use your Distress Oxides as watercolours, you know, watering colour pens as well as using them for other things. So I'm wondering, should I cut this slightly? I might cut this. I'm going to put you up slightly. And this was measuring 4 3/4. So if I cut it to 4 1/2 there, and just a wee bit off here at the bottom, not too much, 4 1/2. So that's a wee bit, yeah, I think that looks a bit better. And let me see, what could I do around the edge of this? Possibly nothing, but let's just get one of these and just do, where is it? Go where your dreams take you, which is a really nice sentiment. So I'm just going to pop that onto another block when I find one here. And I'm just going to use the pine cone again. And I'm not going to, I'm not going to stamp off first. I'm going to just use it straight onto here. So there we go. So go where your dreams take you, it says. And yes, do that. So I've got this punch here, which is an old Stampin' Up one. And I think I'm going to put it in there. And just, I mean, I don't think it'll fit into that one really. I mean, I could do. Is it? Oh, it might fit in there just. Let's see if I can. Yeah, let's put it in there. So that's that piece, but I need something to kind of go behind it. So I've decided I'll use that one and I'll colour it with the green that I had on my brush. Where's the brush? So that it's in keeping with some of the colours that I put onto the card. And you can't really see that, but you will see it once I've placed this on here. So that's quite nice. So let's just stick that together, and that will be that card done now as well. So this one is, now I wonder if I'm just going to curve all the edges of this one. And the same with the actual base. Oh, I need to empty it. And I'm cutting through 2 pieces of thick card actually. I know, oh, did that not work properly? Now let's stick it back in properly. That's better, hopefully. Nope. Let's just cut that off like that. And hopefully that's better. So we'll just pop that on there. And we'll pop that on, I think, there. Now, I'm just thinking, we could actually just go around, oh, don't go on the floor, just go around the edge of that, just to define it from the background of that there. Actually, probably going to end up getting it everywhere, that bit's not covered. Just gives it a bit of definition. And I've just smudged it all, but that's okay because that will just have to add to the effect. Smudged it. Smudged it. Look at it. What a mess. Yeah. Well, do you know what I can do? I can put another stamping of the wording on top, and that'll be better. The joys. Right, let's pop this down. Well, just there. I've got it all over the card. Oh well. That'll just have to add to the appearance of it, won't it? Right, let's do another one of these. And then we can cut it out. So let's find this again. Fine. And then I'll just cut it out from this oval, even, not circle. Try not to get my fingers all over it. So going down to that smaller piece. So just line it up. And stick it on without trying to get it smudged in some way or another. That's a bit better. I've still got smudges everywhere else though. I've just smudged it again. Looks a wee bit better this time, doesn't it? And anyway, if I do splat it, it'll not matter because I think I'm going to just do some splatting now. Right, let's see. What will I have? I've got this one which is leaf green. So using the end that's the brush, just do a wee couple of splatters here and there. Quite a messy card this, but sometimes that's the only way to kind of hide things that went slightly not quite how you were planning them. So thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll use your Distress Oxides to do something similar. I mean, obviously you can use a lot of mediums to do this type of thing, watercolouring, but inks, the inks have to be water reactive, obviously, so that they will work with water, obviously. So thanks so much for joining me, and I hope you've enjoyed watching me create, and I'll be back soon. Bye for now.